Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
An explosion has ripped apart a family's home in Snug. With the damage bill running into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, the family has received a flood of support and offers of a place to stay.
The Keens' home of more than 30 years now sports a charred scar. Crews raced to Snug Tiers Road after reports of an explosion leading to a fire. The family's teenage son was at work when he heard the bad news.
It just told me I had to rush home because there's been a fire at my house and that went wrong.
Calvin's bedroom bore the brunt of the blaze, a lifetime of memories reduced to ash. The fire started from a faulty power point and was fuelled by gas venting from a barbecue. It took 90 minutes to extinguish the blaze.
It had taken hold quite well, and we struggled to get BA crews into the structure due to the roof had started to collapse.
Luckily, no one was inside when the fire broke out, but it's a devastating loss for the family, which is now looking to friends for support.
I've already been flooded with messages from family and friends and even people I don't even know, just offering their support, offering a room, and it's really helpful.
Damage is thought to be around $250,000. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmanian News.
Residents at an East Devonport unit complex have been woken by allegedly a firearm being discharged into a living room. The incident, which police say they believe was a targeted attack, occurred around 6 this morning on Torquay Road.
These people are known in the criminal, drug, gun area, if you like to call it, and as often is the case, they're reluctant to talk to us regarding these matters.
Authorities are appealing for anyone in the area at the time who saw a blue Commodore similar to the one pictured to come forward. A new $64 million mineral shiploader is set to double productivity at the Burnie port as a range of infrastructure improvements are implemented. Stakeholders are excited for the development, one of a number of initiatives set to reduce shipping costs for exporters.
Tasmania's export gateway, the City by the Sea, is set to increase its capacity with the unveiling of a new bulk mineral shiploader.
The existing loader has been performing very, very well. We continue to maintain it, but it is a 50-year asset and it needs to be replaced.
The build of the federally funded project, awarded in-state to Cover Hayward, due to be completed in 2023.
What I'm most proud about is it's going to utilise local contractors.
Continues to help us build momentum for further expansion of the port.
This among a range of upgrades, also eventually seeing the port become an international export point.
We certainly take comfort from that as an industry, that we don't think we're going to be constrained by port infrastructure.
The Minerals Council hoping further upgrades can be delivered in as early as 2 years. They're one of many stakeholders keen to see downward pressure on shipping costs.
Every cent that gets added to a product in terms of costs, we can't pass it on to the buyer, so we have to absorb those costs.
Key areas for us going forward for Tasports to concentrate on at the Burnie port is around the efficiencies around unloading at the port.
It's one shipping issue that's being tackled, as many other industries face broken supply chains due to the pandemic. Builders have struggled to source timber, while customers have been left waiting months for replacement car parts.
So what we've seen is retailers across the country have, to prepare for Christmas, have stockpiled to make sure that they're not out of stock this year going into the all-important Christmas trading period.
Homewares have been under high demand, while the latest tech can fall victim to shipping delays. The industry's advice this festive period: buy early and buy local. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmanian News.
Tasmania's borders are set to reopen to Victoria from midnight as the state is reclassified as low risk. It means people who have spent time in Victoria will once again be able to enter Tasmania without isolating, and those currently quarantining will be able to leave as long as they haven't visited any high-risk areas. There were just 6 new cases in Melbourne today, and none were in the community while infectious. And New Zealanders have scrambled to catch the last flight home from Hobart before tough hotel quarantine conditions come into force. The travel bubble between our two countries was suspended last Friday in response to Sydney's worsening COVID crisis. Kiwi residents were given 1 week to return. From midnight tomorrow, all travellers from Australia will be required to isolate. The state government has been accused of failing vulnerable Tasmanians struggling with homelessness. Independent MP Christy Johnston says the state's housing crisis deepens by the day and is calling for more options to be made available for those sleeping rough.
Jason Brown has been sleeping in his car and couch surfing for the past 6 months. Now, due to a worsening health condition, his search for long-term housing has become even more desperate.
I've got to have a surgery next month sometime, and I've been on the waiting list for going on 3 years now.
Spinal injury sustained after he was hit by a car a decade ago, leaving him in constant pain and in need of care.
Out of 10, you're looking at 20, and I'm not going to get any better. It's just going to get worse. So, what do I do?
Independent MP Christy Johnston says he's not the only one doing it tough. The number of people struggling with homelessness visiting her office increasing.
These people are doing the right thing, but they are stuck in a broken system, and the Minister needs to recognise they are not numbers, these are people.
Calling on the Housing Minister to do more for those sleeping rough as the cold weather draws on.
It's not good enough to say that he's putting more and more housing, they'll be available in years to come. People are experiencing housing crises right now.
There are currently more than 4,000 households on the public housing wait list, with priority applicants waiting on average more than 55 weeks for housing.
We're working very hard to build more homes as rapidly as possible.
The Minister claims accommodation options have been offered to Mr Brown.
Those options in fact are being provided to the gentleman in question, and look, we want to encourage him to accept that option.
But those have been short-term options, unable to accommodate his dog.
He's my mate, and I won't get rid of him. It's like they just don't want to listen. It's like they flick you under the carpet and then that's it.
Now left searching and hoping for a long-term solution. Meg Sides, 7 Tasmanian News.
Firefighters at a remote northern brigade say they're disappointed after equipment was pinched in a break-in. 4 UHF radios and chargers worth around $1,000 were stolen from the volunteer-run Karula fire station sometime between Friday and 7 o'clock last night.
They have a role to perform and a job, and that is to protect our amazing communities. And when gear and equipment is removed from their fire station, it makes it more difficult to successfully complete their jobs. So there's a level of disappointment and frustration.
Anyone who saw suspicious activity is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. McCain is set to lock employees out of its Smithton plant once again as tense contract negotiations escalate. Employees won't be allowed on site from 7 o'clock tonight after being locked out for 36 hours last week. The Manufacturing Workers Union had planned industrial action and claimed this move by the company is unlawful as they acted before any stop work periods took place. McCain said in a statement the action would have posed an unacceptable risk to safety. A Longford local has marked a milestone birthday in style, celebrating with friends and family. Doris Peasley became a centenarian today and some secrets were shared about her longevity.
It's hard to believe Doris Peasley is 100 years old.
She mops her own floors, she makes her own bed every day, she cleans her own bathroom, does her own dishes.
The Launceston-born mother of 3 and grandmother of 6 celebrated the big day with a lunch at the Longford RSL Memorial Club.
Happy birthday to you. Hooray!
Her card from the Queen arrived just in time, as did presents from special friends.
How are you feeling today, turning 100?
Oh, same as I felt at 99 yesterday.
Doris served in the Royal Australian Air Force during World War II before settling in the Northern Midlands with her husband Arthur.
Her and Pop, they just made a life together and they lived happily ever after, basically.
Her granddaughter says she takes good care of herself, eating well and going on daily walks.
Could be that little Vegemite glass of wine she has every night with tea.
But Doris says her long innings comes down to...
Oh, just good genes, as you should imagine.
Latisha Wallace, 7 Tasmanian News.
TSL sides will be missing some of their under-17 and 19 Devils players for an intra-club match. Paul Kennedy says it won't affect Glenorchy too much, but thinks the timing could have been better and questions where the idea came from.
I reckon they've probably been told by headquarters in Melbourne to do it,
That would be my guess. And it probably highlights something I've talked about before, the fact that we don't have Tasmanians running Tasmanian footy, and I think that is an issue.
While at Windsor Park, Mitch Thorpe is recalling Josiah Burling following a lengthy suspension and the news his mother had been diagnosed with a terminal illness.
He's done a great job to get himself back into our senior team, so that's probably a story worthwhile sharing, and we'll certainly share that tonight.
Captain Joby Harper returns for just his third game this year. Some local football games have been cancelled because the grounds aren't up to scratch. Matches between Lilydale and Old Launcestonians at Lilydale have been axed, along with the women's game between Old Launcestonians and Launceston at Invermay Park. The NTFA says no other grounds were available. Premiership points will be split between the teams.
Good evening. Mount Wellington, the low overnight with -3, and Smithton and St Helens our high today with 15 degrees. And even with the westerly winds, our temperatures were close to average. Friendly Beaches and the Islands all 14, Lowhead and Bushy Park 13, Grove and Strawn 12, and Lyawini a top of 3. Extensive cloud today over the west and south, just patchy cloud elsewhere. Mount Reid the best rainfall to 3 p.m. with 23 millimetres. A frontal band is south of Western Australia with patchy cloud further north there, some low cloud over Victoria. Tomorrow the high has moved east over the mainland, and as that front approaches us, we should see a stronger northwesterly flow develop. And that's the case too, with 20 to 30 knot winds reaching 35 knots over the west and also over the southeast later, swells to 4 metres in southern waters. Now, a gale warning's been issued from Wineglass Bay to Stanley, and a strong wind warning for waters between Stanley and Flinders Island, and also from St Helens Point to Wineglass Bay. A minor flood warning for the South Esk, the Derwent, the North Esk, the Macquarie and Meander rivers, and a flood watch for rivers in the northwest, north and northeast. To tomorrow we go, and 15 and partly cloudy for Hobart, Huonville the same, 15 the top for Campania. Launceston expecting a high of 13, with showers increasing as the front moves in. Devonport showers increasing as well, 13 the top, and 13 for Georgetown. Burnie a high of 13 degrees with showers on the way. A windy afternoon for Strawn, 14 the top and 13 for Wynyard. For St Helens tomorrow, partly cloudy and 14. 15 for Swansea. Port Arthur 7 overnight, 14 tomorrow. On Saturday, rain over the north and west with showers elsewhere. Thunderstorms over the west as well. Similar weather for the north on Sunday with hail likely over the west and south. Partly cloudy for the east. And on Monday, more wet weather, but fine for the east after an early frost. Showers and a possible storm in Perth, partly cloudy in Adelaide and Melbourne, sunny weather for Canberra, Sydney and Brisbane. Partly cloudy in Hobart, 11 right now, clear in Launceston and Devonport, currently 9 degrees. Apparently, Kim, your weekend starts right now. I don't know how you keep getting Fridays off, not if I was in charge.
Oh, everyone's lucky you're not in charge, Merv. Yes, I am having tomorrow off. Got a bit of a shindig on. Well, that's your news for now. Thanks for joining us tonight. Good night.